I think the Indiana Pacers are really going to surprise some people this year. Welcome in or welcome back. Day 7, Indiana Pacers. Now, on the forefront, I have to admit that if I wasn't a Celtics fan, if I was ever going to pick a different team to support, it would be the Indiana Pacers. So my preview of them may be a little bit biased, but I promise you that most of it is grounded in reality. Also, as a Celtics fan, I think that I can be objective about the championship run that we just had, and I think that Indiana probably would have given us the most trouble if they had a healthy Benedict Mathurin and a healthy Tyrese Halliburton. It really is just that simple. I still think that the Celtics would have won out, but it definitely wouldn't have been the slaughter that it was. There's a bigger talking point when it comes to the NBA and the need to feel like a player has to come back to perform, whether that is for some sort of incentive like an All-NBA team, which is obviously tied up into a contract, or just the need to be there for your teammates. Because when Tyrese Halliburton went down earlier in the season, there was a skid there where they weren't looking so hot. And it really wasn't until Tyrese Halliburton came back that the rest of the team started to play better. Tyrese didn't necessarily play better, but just his presence on the team in uniform helped that team tremendously. But it was very obvious from the outset that he was struggling. He wasn't shooting the three-point shot very well. His efficiency went down significantly. He wasn't comfortable attacking downhill like he was earlier in the season, and you could very much tell that he lost a step. I'd have to imagine now that you've had the offseason to recoup and revitalize that you were coming into the new season with this refreshed mentality of, I'm going to be the best point guard in the league, or at bare minimum, the best facilitator in the league. And I don't want any of us to forget, Indiana Pacers basketball is fun. Scoring a bunch of points is fun. This Matador defense, especially in the regular season, is so fun to watch. And I don't expect that to be any different than what it was last season, because they didn't pick up an all-world defender at any point. If anything, they picked up other pieces to make them even faster. I think that the Pacers kind of had some luck fall their way when Benedict Mathurin went down. Obviously, losing someone like him is not very good for a franchise from a winning perspective. But when a player like that goes down, it does clear the way for other players like Andrew Nembhard to show out. And let's not forget, TJ McConnell was out of the rotation at that point. He was not getting any PT. And when a primary or a secondary ball handler goes down, you get inserted into that spot. And TJ McConnell was great for that team last year. The question now with a healthy Benedict Mathurin is going to be, can we get what we saw from him last year prior to the injury, while also not stunting the growth and the development of Andrew Nembhard? And of course, let's not forget the head of the snake, Tyrese Halliburton. It's going to be really difficult, I think, to have all three of them click and gel at the same time. But Tyrese seems very unselfish, obviously with his assist numbers, but just his personality as well. I think there's going to be real situations and scenarios where he is going to have it, and then one of the other two is also going to have it on a particular night, and he's going to defer in hopes that it is better for the team in the long run. I do want to make quick mention of one pickup, and that was James Wiseman. I was really high on him coming into the draft out of Memphis, and he hasn't turned into the player that I thought he was going to, but I still believe. I don't believe in this idea that if a player comes in and he's not what you expect by the time he's 22, 23 years old, that you can just write him off. I just don't believe in that mentality or that philosophy at all. I think that James Wiseman was not in a great scenario in the Warriors offense because he was going to be like a fourth, a fifth fiddle behind their entire roster of offensive weapons. So what he got to do best really wasn't showcased. So being able to block shots and get up and down the court is going to be super valuable to that team, and he's going to get a super confidence boost from that. He almost has to. And again, playing with someone like Tyrese Halliburton, as long as you are running, he will find you and you will score. The last thing I wanted to mention about the Pacers is that obviously Pascal Siakam signed that extension, so he's going to be here for the long term. At least that's what it looks like on paper. And I think I'm a little lower on Pascal Siakam than a lot of people are, and I think that may just be a me thing. He's not very flashy, and that Indiana Pacers team is all flash. When I think of the Indiana Pacers, I think highlight reels, and I just don't think that of Pascal Siakam. Not to say he's not a great player, because he is. I just don't really see it for him. I do think that his inclusion in that offense and with a healthy Tyrese Halliburton is really going to prove dividends to that sort of offense and what the Pacers want to achieve this upcoming season. I think there's a real scenario where they make another run at the NBA Cup championship like they did last year, And who knows, if they play well and they click right at the same exact time or at the right time, they're probably a top 5 seed in the East. I think a lot of things are going to have to go right, and I think that there are going to have to be a lot of things to break their way. But if there's ever going to be a team that can pull this off, it's going to be the Indiana Pacers. But that's all I got today. What is the ceiling for the Indiana Pacers? Are they a top 3 seed? Do you think they're going to miss the playoffs? Let me know down in the comments. Check my link tree while you're at it. Be kind, tell somebody you love them. I'll see you tomorrow.